Hello everyone, you're watching Campus Channel and we're here today with EDHEC. We're going to talk about their Master in Management, specifically the track which is the Global Economic and Transformation Technology track. We have Ludovic Cailluet, the program director, and we also have a student, Utkarsh, ARORA, here to take your questions. But first, we're going to start with the pitch. All right, Ludovic, excuse me, you know the drill. 60 seconds flat. Yeah. Are you ready?
I am.
All right, go.
Hello, everybody. The Global Economic Transformation and Technology program at EDHEC is part of the international strategy of that school. The school is a research-based business school, one of the top 15 in Europe. And the program was designed in order to offer a Master in Management program able to develop competencies for students who want to be engaged in the management, finance or marketing of technology projects and innovative projects, and who want an international experience. So the program is run in Paris, Seoul and Berkeley in the Bay Area in the US. It covers most of the foundation discipline of management, and the students specialize into project management, innovation management in intercultural and international settings in three ecosystems of innovation: Paris, Seoul and Berkeley.
All right, right at time. We're going to move on to the questions. Please
Sure.
remember to keep sending us your questions. They're going to show up right there. So let's take the first one. And Ludovic, I will let you read this one here.
Yeah. On average, what's the size of this program in terms of number of students? We are now in the second year of the program. The first cohort was 42. The second cohort is 47. We intend to keep it under 60 for the moment.
Okay. And so what is this like in terms of class size? Does this mean all 40-something students are in the same class at the same time? Or how does this work?
Utkarsh?
Yes, so we take all classes together and the program is pretty fixed in terms of that. What it brings to me is that it's a much more intimate setting where you can not only all study together but get to know and network with each other very well. So that I think is a great advantage for having a small class size.
But in terms of, I think 47 is quite big for a class size. So if you're in a lecture hall, is it interactive? Can you have a discussion? Are there too many people to have a discussion? Is it just a teacher speaking to everyone?
Well, indeed, I come from a classroom that used to be 120 students earlier, so for me it's a big step up. But the way the classrooms are designed and the activities inside the classes are designed are in a way that allows for full interaction among students.
Usually we teach the full cohort, so the 47. But there are a few exceptions. For instance, foreign languages, they are into half cohorts, and for some activities they are into elective courses, so they might be in smaller cohorts. But again, as Utkarsh said, even the best institution, if you go to the Harvard Business School MBA, there are 90 plus students in a classroom.
All right, let's take the next question here, Ludovic.
How much does it cost to study at Berkeley? Actually, we don't cut the cost into years, so I can speak about the cost of the full program, right? So the cost of the full program for students who are from outside the EU is 64,000 euros for the full program, okay? It's 46,400 euros for European Union students. And for the prépa students, the people who come from the class préparatoire in France, they have to add 16,000 euros to the regular fees of EDHEC.
Okay, 64,000 euros, that's not a small sum of money. Does that cover living expenses as well? What does that cover?
It's about tuition fees, right? But you have to integrate the fact that it's a double degree. So you have, at the end of the program, you have 2 Master in Management, one from EDHEC Business School, the other one from Sungkyung Kwan University, which is the top #1 MBA in Korea, according to Financial Times. And you get a diploma in Global Economic Transformation and Technology from UC Berkeley Haas School of Business.
Okay, so what does that Korean #1 diploma mean for an international student who's not going to work in Korea?
Well, the FT is taking seriously their rankings, so it means that it's a top business school where students are going to gather with, they have classes with MBA students who are coming from the best companies in Korea, and not only from Korea, but also from the larger Asian region. So it's a top university with top faculty, as much as what they will experience at EDHEC and at Haas School of Business.
All right, let's take the next question. Utkarsh, will you read this, please?
What specific corporate partners participate in this program? Well, as of now, I don't think we've had any specific corporate partners, but we do have a lot of people from different companies coming over and interacting with us. For example, just last week, we had a brown bag session from a senior investment professional at EDF, and it was an hour-long session where not only did we have lunch together, but we got to learn a lot about their daily work, about how M&As work, and just a brief industry overview. And we plan to continue having such sessions in the future.
So is it you who plans these sessions, the students, or who plans these?
Well, for now it's a student-led effort, but I'm sure the administration as well are looking into future corporate partnerships.
Okay, and what's typically the content? So you said you learned a little bit about their daily lives, but what is beneficial to you about that? What do you learn that could help you in your career moving forward?
Well, for me it's primarily about the skill sets that I need to gain. For example, because I'm starting right now in my business career, it gives me a good idea about what it takes to reach to that level and what sort of hard skills, for example, in mathematics or Excel skills that I need to get to that level.
All right, Ludovic, do you have specific corporate partners that participate in this program?
Not yet. As Utkarsh said, this is something that we are building. The program is very new. But at school level, we have about 120 corporate events a year. We have corporate sponsors. And I have to say that the initiative was student-led. Utkarsh was right, but it got the support from the Career Center actually to find the guests who came to speak. So it's a joint effort. We like very much the idea of co-designing that kind of initiative, so we support fully the students when they have ideas to do so.
So how are students involved in other ways in the school, or in shaping the curriculum, in shaping the academics?
To give you one concrete example, last year the students wanted to do market finance as an elective in Korea. That was not designed in the program. We asked our partners, and because we have a very strong alliance with them, they opened an elective to satisfy the students who wanted to go for that very specific topic.
All right, let's take the next question here, Ludovic.
We awarded 3 diplomas between Paris, Seoul and Berkeley. Actually, if you are successful in the exams, of course, you get awarded a Master in Management from EDHEC Business School, which is recognized by the French state. You get the Master in Management Studies from the Sungkyunkwan University, which is recognized by the Korean state, and a diploma in Global Economic Transformation and Technology from the University of California, Berkeley Haas School of Business.
So what's the value of having all 3 of these diplomas? Is it more valuable than just having one diploma from, say, Harvard Business School or a big well-known school?
That would be difficult to compare with a specific school. What it means is that it's not spending an exchange semester abroad with a partner university. It's actually being a graduate of that university. So you will get the benefit of the degree itself, but also the alumni benefits. So you are part of the EDHEC family, you are part of the SKK family, and you are part of the UC Berkeley family because you are graduates of these 3 institutions. That's a big difference between just spending 6 months one place and moving to another place in a curriculum.
And how standardized are the requirements for across the board for getting these diplomas? Is each school different, or is there an overall form standard of requirements to achieve these diplomas?
No, you have to comply to each school's standards and requirements, which could be, of course, challenging because these are excellent academic institutions. So you really have to work hard to get for it.
So can you give me an example of something that might be different between Paris and Berkeley?
Yes, for instance, the number of classes you have to take. In Paris, the students take about 7 or 8 courses.
Mm-hmm.
In Berkeley, they have 4 courses per semester. So the amount of homework is higher, most certainly in Berkeley, as compared to what you do in class. So that's one difference, for instance. In Korea, they have 10 courses to take along the semester. So these are shorter courses. So the formats are different. We have a lot of continuous assessment in Paris. There are more exams in Korea. So the different academic traditions make for a richer experience also as a student.
Okay, and so for you, Utkarsh, as a student, what's the value of having these 3 different diplomas once you finish? Was that a deciding factor for your decision to do this program?
Indeed, it was one of the biggest factors that made me choose this program over other double or single degrees, as you said, specifically because the manager of the future needs to be able to fit himself into different cultural contexts. And we know that with the digital transformation happening all across businesses all over the world, it's important that you understand the social context and you understand the way of working in different situations. And to build a truly international career, I think this is a great opportunity because you get to study across 3 continents, you get to network across 3 continents, and you get to understand how people think and work across 3 continents. So for me, that's a big plus point.
All right. Ludovic, will you take the next question, please?
Yes. Can French students who have completed a bachelor in economics join? How many have been admitted last year? Yes, you can join. Definitely, if you are a French or a non-French student who have completed a bachelor in economics, you have to apply to the school through the so-called admission sur titre, the AST, which is part of the national entry competition to join the Grande École. Last year we admitted about from directly in the M1 using that way 6 people. So it's a limited group of people, but we really enjoy these people because they bring some diversity in the class that we recruit each year.
So what is the typical background of the students that you are looking for and that you are admitting?
Generally speaking, not only for that very specific case, we are looking at academic achievement. So we are looking at good students with good grades, but we are looking also at diversity. So we insist on, for instance, gender parity. We have half women, half men in the program. We insist also on the diversity of background. So, of course, we have a majority of people who have a bachelor in management, commerce, or marketing, for sure. But we have a large group of people with science background, engineering bachelors, mathematics bachelors, or legal studies bachelors. So we think that if corporations need people who have the experience of diversity in many ways, and that's part of the ethos of the program.
Okay, and very quickly, Utkarsh, can you tell us a little bit about your background and your profile?
Sure. Well, I'm an engineer and majored in mechanical engineering, but then I decided I need a bit more wholesome education. So I decided to do a postgraduate diploma in liberal arts. So that brings in essence of humanities education to me as well. And now I'm going to do a master's degree in business management. So for me, it's something that completes the circle. You need to have a logical skill set, you need to know sociology and anthropology to understand how people think, how people work, and then with the business degree to top it off, I think it's a recipe for a good future manager.
All right, let's take this next question. Ludovic?
Do I need coding or programming skills to apply for this program? No, you don't need, but that's a good idea if you have such an experience. We are to organize a session for the students this year in Berkeley. They are going to spend 10 days in a coding school to have them immerse a little bit into that experience, professional skills. They won't become experts, but we think that's important for them to understand these kind of technology skills experience.
Why is it important for them to learn coding?
I just come back from the Bay Area to meet our partners in Berkeley, and it's very clear that this is something that people, even if they want to apply their financial skills or marketing skills, need at least to understand, because they will need at some point to talk with tech people who master these skills, the algorithm, the architecture of the IT systems, and that's truly very important for our students. We believe it's important for our students.
So as you said, they're not going to become experts, but do you think 10 days is enough to learn the language and to understand enough to be able to communicate with programmers and coders? And
also to understand the way the people who code see the world and how they see their work, how the projects are organized. That's a very important element, I believe.
Okay, and very quickly, Utkarsh, did you have any experience in coding or programming?
Well, in coding specifically, no, but I think, as Ludovic said, it's really important to say, for example, if you want to become a product developer or if you are in a financial analysis firm, you need to know the capability of the software that you're using, the coding language that you're using, and how you can get the best out of your team of coders, perhaps. So it's essential to know, have a bird's eye view of how the whole process works, even if you can't code yourself.
All right, we're going to take a quick break from the face-to-face from our questions because it's time for 3 words taboo. Our guests have 3 words to describe their program, and they get 1 phrase for each word to explain why they chose that word, but we have also chosen 3 words that they're not allowed to use, and if they use those words, they will hear an alarm. So, who's going to give me the 3 words? All right, Ludovic.
Okay, so learn, actually 3 verbs. To learn, to create, to experience.
Okay.
I have no taboos?
No, not so far, but I needed a 1-sentence explanation for each word.
To learn, because it's an academic experience. The program thrives with excellence in academia, top professors, new research. That's for learning.
Okay.
To create, because in the creation of our school we're entrepreneurs in 1906, and we want to keep that notion that students are here to make things, to create business, to launch new projects.
Okay, so far so good. Number 3?
To experience, because it's a real life adventure. So our students are going to experience life in France, in Korea, in California, which is even a special place in the US. And they will experience different academic traditions. They will experience ecosystems of innovations that are incredible places.
All right, very good. You made it.
Thank
All
you.
right, let's get back to the questions. Utkarsh, will you take this for us, please?
What kind of jobs do students get with the diploma? Well, I think the job market after this diploma is open wide for us, because the skills that you gain at this program, they are pertinent to a fundamental business education and then understanding of digital transformation, and those are things that can be applied to any domain, ranging from marketing to finance, venture capital, and the kind of jobs that you can expect can be just as wide ranging.
Such as what kinds of jobs?
I mean, for example, if you want to be a market analyst for a digital marketing company, or for example, if you want to work for a venture capitalist to understand which new startups have the capability to take on the market with their technology. So all of these things can help you get a job in different fields.
Okay, and so this is just the 2nd year of the program. You don't have any alumni yet?
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's a difficult question to answer with exact answers, but I can provide some hints with the fact that our first cohort of students are doing this year their professional immersion year. Mm-hmm. So I know what kind of internship they are performing at the moment, and I can tell that you have people who are financial analysts with banks or venture capital companies. We have people who do consulting in strategic management. We have people who are more into the marketing side of e-commerce companies. So that's a very diverse set of possibilities that are offered to students who will graduate from our degree.
And are these internships that they're doing, are they based on the student's interest, or are they based on what offers are available to the EDHEC students?
Actually, it's a combination of the two. Our career service is running something called talent identification and career development. Every student has a personal coach, and that person is having several conversations with them to try to define from their interests, to transform their interests into something concrete and help them to locate internship. We have hundreds of offers for internship, but the problem is more to match the exact desire of the students with the reality of the job market.
All right, let's take the next question here. Ludovic.
Hi, I'm from the US. Can you tell me more about the EDHEC campus, please? Is it like an American campus? It is not, actually. Our Lille campus in the north of France is much more like an American campus. But a campus in Paris is a city campus where our students share the space with executive education clients from EDHEC. So it's very much a downtown campus near the opera, the department stores. There is less sports facilities, for instance, than in a typical American campus.
So what is that? How many students are on this campus here in Paris?
We have the apprenticeship track who spend a week a month, and there are about 120 of them, and the GETT students who are 47 at the moment.
Mm-hmm. So even though it's a city campus, are there facilities like a gym, or are there any specific special facilities that are available to students?
The students have access to gyms in the neighborhood. I mean, there are plenty of them. It's
through the school? I mean, that's included in their tuition fees? Or?
No, it's not included in the tuition fees. They have a special rates that have been negotiated by students with local providers of gym services, for instance. There is a restaurant and a cafeteria on site. But it's at the center of Paris again, so there's plenty of opportunities right next door. It's pretty easy. But again, it's a city campus, so if you want to play football, or you need to go outside a little bit, take the metro and a few stations, and you find some sports ground for that sake.
All right, Utkarsh, let's hear your opinion of the campus.
Well, to add to that, I think the campus itself is a very beautiful building. It's a piece of historical art. We share the same space with a lot of big companies like BlackRock, Samsung, etc. But having said that, once you figure out your way around Paris, it can be a very student-friendly city. And I think for me, right now, the way I see it, Paris is my campus. There are so many libraries, so many opportunities to go out and meet people. I think, yeah, when you're in a full-time campus, like they said, in an American campus, it's sort of limits you to where you are. But with having the whole city to yourself, it's a completely different experience.
All right, let's take the next question here. Utkarsh, will you read this, please?
What hands-on projects do you assign us in the program? Well, I think all of our classwork is done in groups, and it's all hands-on. Every week we have a certain group work that needs to be submitted for each class. In terms of hands-on, I don't really understand what.
So, are there any concrete projects? Are you just writing papers, or do you actually have consulting projects that you get to work on?
Well, we don't do a lot of academic writing, given that this is a business school, but we do solve a lot of cases, strategic management cases related to human capital as well as marketing, and most of our classes are based on a case-solving method in groups.
So can you give me an example of one of your assignments that you've worked on?
Yeah, and this is one of the examples I find quite surprising while studying in a French business school. We were asked to do a case study on one of India's largest domestic airlines called Indigo, and Professor Cailluet, our professor, took the class in a very different direction. I never expected to do a class like that, but getting to see the airlines from a French perspective and a European perspective definitely gave me a lot more insight than I could have got studying it on my own.
All right, and Ludovic, do you want to add anything about what kinds of assignments students get and their workload?
For instance, in the Technology and Society course, we had an assignment that was offered to us by the Luma Foundation, and they asked the students to work on a project. So the students had to imagine something for the foundation, which is a not-for-profit, it's not a company. In the last year at UC Berkeley, they have a specific course which is a consulting project, basically for real companies.
Okay.
But that will come at the very end. But most of the courses are based on case study and problem-solving pedagogy. So that's the philosophy of the program.
All right, very good. Looks like we have a question for you, Utkarsh.
Indeed. Hi, Utkarsh. What's your advice to make the most of this master? Well, I think the one biggest advice that I can give to anyone who's trying to come for this master is to keep an open mind while applying, because before applying it seems like a very good program. Yeah, you're going to 3 continents, but when it actually starts, things start to speed up very quickly, and you get to meet so many new people, you get to network so much with people from different backgrounds, wildly different backgrounds, and you need to be open to absorbing all of that is being given to you at any point in time, in terms of both culture as well as the academic methods that are used. We have different professors flying over from different parts of the world to teach us, and each of their method is different. So just being open to new experiences and learning as much as possible is the best advice I could give you.
So how do you keep up? So you're living in Paris, you're going to school. Do you have time to go out and enjoy the city? How do you balance your workload and your classes with also absorbing the culture, as you were saying, and actually exploring and enjoying Paris.
Indeed. To add to that, I'm also learning 2 languages at the same time, French and Korean. So yes, you may say it gets a bit hectic, but for me, that's part of student life, you know. The more challenging it gets, the more rewarding it is at the end. So yeah, that's it.
So, but do you have time to go out?
Of course, yes. Paris is a city that you would be lost if you don't go out to explore the city.
All right, let's take the next question here, Ludovic.
Why don't we take sociology classes in the US or Paris like we do in Seoul with the Contemporary Society and Culture course? Actually, in the US, at Berkeley, students have 4 courses per semester, 3 courses with the business school, but 1 course could be taken in any of the departments of UC Berkeley.
Wow.
So if you are into, I don't know, urban planning, sociology, history, chemical science, physics, you can pick a course in that discipline, right? So that's something that is completely possible, and I have to say that if I was a student, I would love it. For the courses that are connected with local culture, we have integrated that into the foreign language courses. So students have to take Korean in Paris and in Seoul, and we designed French for non-French speakers as a service for the students, for helping them to integrate into their Parisian environment.
Okay, so Utkarsh, you mentioned that you are taking both French and Korean at the same time. So I guess Korean will be in preparation for your time in Seoul. So how is this available to all students? Do all students take this track? Do they all start studying Korean as soon as they come to Paris?
Korean is compulsory. It's a credit course. French is more a service for non-French speakers. It's on a voluntary basis. I have to say that all the non-French speakers took French at the moment.
All right, let's take the next question here, Ludovic.
Is it possible to specialize in AI, for example? To some extent, same answer as the previous one. That is, in Berkeley, which is the specialization year, you would be able to take courses related to artificial intelligence for sure.
Okay, and so what is it like for students in terms of electives? How much can they really customize their curriculum and compared to just having a general overall academic experience?
In Paris, we don't have electives. You need to put the foundation first when you build your house. So this is about the foundation. In Seoul, in the second semester, they have much more electives, so they can emphasize, for instance, on finance or marketing, which are the 2 major tracks that where our students have an interest usually. And in Berkeley, they will have the possibility to really color their curriculum with specialization, mostly in innovation, project management, new venture finance, that kind of topics.
So what's the ratio of electives in the course of all of their classes?
It's a good question. I never calculated for all courses, but I would say about a third altogether. Yeah.
And so, Utkarsh, do you feel like you have a good choice of electives? Are you able to find topics that interest you and that make sense cohesively?
Indeed, yes. I think with the choice of electives that we have right now, even if I'm some student that is not sure what to do in the future, the choice of electives will help me guide my way through my career of choice in the future.
All right, we're going to take another quick break from the questions. Where are we headed? We don't know. We're going to find out with Final Destination. Okay. All right, Utkarsh, I think this is going to be for you. So if you'll just draw a piece of paper out of there, please. Is it in French or is it?
It's in French.
Okay, here, I'll read it for you. Let's see what we have. All right. Without blank, you would never have a network. So what do you have to have a good network?
You need to have a self-starter attitude. You need to put yourself out there in front of people. Simply, it's just that.
And do you practice this?
Yeah, in fact, the program helps us practice that. We have a pitch academy exercise where we learn how to present ourselves in a way that makes you attractive to both employers and potential network partners. So that's something that I really appreciate at the program as well, and it's helped me develop both my public speaking skills as well as interpersonal skills.
So what do you mean by having a self-starter attitude? What does that look like? So you're at an after-school meeting with a bunch of people from a bunch of different companies. What does it mean to have a self-starter attitude in that kind of situation?
Well, for me, it's something that you need to have. You need to first, EDHEC is a big brand, but then you need to have a brand for yourself. You need to tell people that that you're targeting about yourself in the shortest possible period of time with the biggest impact. For me, that's something that comes with a self-starter attitude. You're ready to talk and converse about anything that the person is interested to talk about in. And with that said, I think at EDHEC, at the GETT program, we're all a bit of entrepreneurs, because this is the second year of the program, and a lot of things are ambiguous. So with that, it brings to you the capability of surviving in situations or thriving in situations where not everything is set out for you, or you have a historical precedent to say that this is what's going to happen if I do this. So yeah, that's what I mean by a self-starter attitude.
All right, and for you, Ludovic, what do students need to have a good network?
I think they already have an excellent network that they don't know usually. They have 40,000 plus alumni of the school. They will enjoy the alumni of SKK and those of UC Berkeley. It's a huge network. It's an incredible network. We have already started to work with alumni to set up projects in Seoul and Berkeley. So they already have a lot of resources actually, if they are willing to open to others. And I think usually they are. I mean, I really like the attitude of our students. Generally, they are good people, and I really enjoy interact with them.
All right, very good. Let's get back to the questions here, Ludovic.
Do you organize visits to local companies in each city to meet with executives? Actually, we do. Our students are going to, in our building, actually in Paris, that's only by chance, we have the General Electric Digital Foundry that our students are going to visit in a few days, I think, or a few weeks. And in Seoul, they are going to visit various companies, incubators, and that's the same in Berkeley. So we have visits planned for each of our campuses.
And what do these visits entail? What's the benefit to students besides just seeing an office where people work?
I agree, which is in the internet economy is not very exciting, because that's mostly about computers and open spaces. No, more seriously, what is interesting for them is to interact with executives who not only present the company but discuss some of the challenges. And if the students come well prepared, they can have very insightful questions to ask. And usually the answers are very good for them to also better understand the recent challenges of these companies.
All right. And so, Utkarsh, are there any companies that you're looking forward to visiting, or have you looked ahead to these meetings?
Well, I'm really excited to be visiting the GE General Foundry, as Professor Cailluet said. To add to that, I think we also do a lot of visits to non-corporate entities. For example, the Luma Foundation, which we talked about earlier, it's a space that is very hard to define, but they have a lot of exciting stuff going on. Last month, we visited a co-working / open innovation space. It was just outside Paris, and we discovered how companies can outsource their innovation development processes to a team of very highly specialized individuals. And we also got to learn how innovation can thrive in a space which is outside of corporate walls. So that's something that's pretty exciting for me.
All right, let's take the next question here, Ludovic.
How does entrepreneurship come into play in this master?
We'll let Utkarsh start with this. No, it's okay. Utkarsh, do you want to answer this one?
Sure. Well, with the program, the way it's designed, and since we're the second cohort of the program, entrepreneurship needs to run in our blood to be able to thrive here. You're gonna be, for me, I'm a free-moving international student. I'm new to Paris. I'm going to be new to Seoul and Berkeley as well. So first of all, setting up your student life there, making sure you can survive as a human being, that's entrepreneurship in a way. And then dealing with the struggles of the class workload of the class, as well as learning as much as possible. That all comes up with a self-starter attitude. That's entrepreneurship for me.
And Ludovic?
I have to say that would-be entrepreneurs are most welcome to the program. We have some of them in the first cohort. And actually, we have an entrepreneurship department at EDHEC. As you may know, we have working spaces at Station F. There are only 3 business schools at Station F, and one of them is EDHEC. It's the largest incubator in Europe. So we have the entrepreneurship department can coach individually students with an entrepreneurial project in Paris, in Seoul, in Berkeley, all along the curriculum.
All right, let's take the next question here. Utkarsh, will you read this, please?
How do we find housing in each city? Does the school provide student accommodation? Well, if you look up a little bit about Paris, you'll find that housing is a nightmare here. So yeah, finding student accommodation in Paris is probably a little bit tough. But for the next semester in Seoul, we've already figured out accommodation with the university, and hopefully same at Berkeley as well.
So how do you sort your housing here in Paris, since it's such a nightmare, to use your words?
Well, you look at different websites and you call people till you get tired, and then you repeat the same process the next day until someone picks up and says, okay, I'm willing to rent you my apartment. Especially for international students, non-European students, it's a bit of a challenge. But if you have friends or relatives or anything like that in Paris, it's a big plus.
And what kind of support does the school offer in terms of helping students find housing?
Actually, we in Seoul and Berkeley, our local partner is providing us with support. So in so-called dormitories or student accommodations on campus or near campus. For Paris, the Utkarsh, it's more difficult for international students. It was the case last year because we switched from Lille to Paris, and the support services are now in place for the next batch of students in Paris. That would be much easier. Hopefully, that was more of a circumstantial context that explained that. Yeah.
All right, Ludovic, will you take the next question, please?
As a French student, is it possible to find work in Seoul or California after studying there? There are, of course, limitations that are with the visa regulations in every country. So I start with California. At the end of your courses in California, you may apply for a so-called OPT that allows you to work for a year in the US after graduation. In Seoul, you need to check the exact regulations with the Korean embassy in Paris to know if your visa allows you to work there. The challenge would be less the visa than finding an internship in a Korean company. It's possible, but it's more difficult if you don't speak fluent Korean, for sure.
So, and what about in France for the professional insertion? So for you, Utkarsh, you are learning French now. Will you need to speak French to get an internship here in France?
Well, indeed. So my target is to learn at least enough French to be able to hold a basic conversation. By the time I get to an internship here, I want to intern here in Paris, or at least in France, so that I can continue improving upon my language. And by the time I graduate, I think I should be fluent enough to work in France. To add to what Professor Cailluet said, it's also important that you understand there's a lot of multinational and transnational companies that hire from all over the world. And if you have had experience in Seoul or in California, you can always join that company back in France or anywhere else, and then later on move to the country of your choice.
All right, well, we are almost out of time, and we want to have an opportunity for you to leave us with some last words. So we're going to finish with the Sweetest. All right, very quickly, Utkarsh, can you tell me what your favorite question or your favorite moment from this interview was?
I think the favorite question that I got from this interview was the career opportunities in the future aspect, because it is something that you need to reflect right from the get-go, even before you want to apply for the program, even before you start taking your GMAT or your application. That's something that every student needs to know, because if you have a solid plan for your future, things just become so much easier.
All right, and Ludovic, last word?
I really enjoyed that question about careers. Also, that's a challenging question because that's exactly our mission. Our mission is to prepare people for the job market. So we have to imagine a program and to design a program in order to have them fulfill their projects and their professional dreams. So that's a difficult and interesting question. That's the center of our mission.
Very good. Well, thank you both very much for being here and sharing your insights. And thank you for joining us. We will see you again very soon right here on Campus Channel.